So I posted a video earlier today about this person, Kate Slater, who is an anti-racist trainer who is now an assistant dean at Brandeis University. And I called that position into question because Kate, over the weekend, blatantly posted on her Instagram profile that she believes that all white people are racist, and that includes her. And I had to question whether A, Brandeis University employing an admitted racist who I don't think would be able to work well with white students if she perceives them all to be racist. I called into question the efficacy of that employment, because if someone cannot serve a particular population in the community because they think that they're racist, then I think that would be a problem. Now, this calls into question the idea of cancel culture. I am, generally speaking, opposed to cancel culture, but I have to admit, I really have some mixed feelings about it. And I guess I wanted to make this video because I wanted your guys' help in thinking through some of the mixed feelings that I have about this. And I will give you an example of this. So Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen has been all over the place with people trying to cancel Chrissy Teigen because of things that she said years ago about then 16-year-old Courtney Stodden. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And I have to tell you, I really don't like seeing the right do this. I really dislike it. It leaves a very, very bad taste in my mouth. If for no other reason than I think one of the issues that I have with cancel culture and the SJWs on the left is that there's no path to redemption at all. There's no redemption at any point. And that's problematic, because if someone does something years ago, there's nothing they can do to overcome it. And I've said from the very beginning, I don't want to see the right become the monster they're fighting in the left. But what I've learned about the right over the last, year or so is that they're completely reactionary to what the left is doing. And so it makes absolute and total sense that because they are completely reactionary to what the left is doing, now that they've lost their favorite president in office, they are going to just solely react, solely copycat what the left is doing on the right, which leads to them canceling Chrissy Teigen for something that she did years ago, even though Chrissy Teigen has issued a public apology for what she did. Now, I just want to take a quick moment to read this. And by the way, you can really dislike Chrissy Teigen. You cannot follow her. You can block her. You can, never want to hear her name again. I don't care. The point here is not Chrissy Teigen. The point here is a path to redemption. Not a lot of people are lucky enough to be held accountable for all their past BS in front of the entire world. I'm mortified and sad at who I used to be. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll. I am ashamed and completely embarrassed at my behavior, but that is nothing compared to how I made Courtney feel. I have worked so hard to give you guys joy and be beloved, and that feeling of letting you down is truly unbearable. This is not my only mistake, and surely it won't be my last, as hard as I try, but God, I will try. I've tried to contact Courtney privately, but since I publicly fueled this, I also want to publicly apologize. I'm so sorry, Courtney. I hope you can heal now, knowing how deeply sorry I am. I am so sorry I let you guys down. I will work forever on being better than I was 10 years ago, 10 years, 1 year ago, 6 months ago. I actually think that's a really nice apology. And she might be sincere and she might not be sincere, but that's not the point. The point is a path to redemption. And when the right just keeps hitting and hitting and hitting, I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, this is no better. This isn't better. People should be able to make mistakes. They should. Now, that bring us back to Kate here. Some might argue that what I did to Kate in this was absolutely no different than what the right is doing to Chrissy Teigen, and in some respects they'd be right, and I want to acknowledge that. But I really do have mixed feelings about that situation, and part of these mixed feelings comes from this book right here, which I read with my locals in a book club that we just actually had yesterday. And, a lot of people focus on the tactics chapter in this book, which is where the actual rules for radicals, that's the list of rules that you see all over the internet. But the chapter that actually made me the most afraid was the means and the ends chapter, which is at the very beginning of the book. The tactics chapter is later. And the means and the ends chapter essentially says that the left has no moral compass whatsoever that they will find a way to justify almost any tactic if it results in them achieving their desired goal. And we can see this actively playing out in society right now. Everything from cancel culture to the riots to Antifa basically burning down Portland, or at least trying their very best to. We can see this playing out all over the place. And so if we're going to fight this, do we, in some respect, need to engage in it? Do we need to say, Brandeis University, you're employing an admitted racist as a dean of students? Like, that's crazy. That doesn't seem like it's an appropriate person to have in a position serving a student body that's just like, let's be honest, is mostly white. It does not seem appropriate to have someone who blatantly posts on the internet, all white people are racist. And so I truly do have mixed feelings about this, because in some respects I feel like we need to use the same tactics of the left in order to fight back against this. And in the other sense, I want there to be a path to redemption. You know, as much as I am absolutely going to rag on her, and I absolutely am going to call out and say, why is any organization employing a person that admits on the internet that they're a racist? I would love for her to have a path to redemption of some sort. I don't actually, first of all, I don't actually think she's going to lose her job at Brandeis. I think that Brandeis isn't going to give two flips that they've hired someone into this position that admits they're racist. I think that that's just the time that we're in, and so I don't actually think that she's in any danger of losing her job. But what if she was? What if she did? Would I feel bad about that? No, not really. Because I have to level out what is the greater good at this point. Is the greater good keeping Kate Slater in that position where she can actually impact the real lives of real people and convince people on a pretty, reasonably big scale that they're racist? Or is the greater good getting her out of the position to do that? I mean, even if I go back into Rules for Radicals, what it says is the greatest good is the one that's going to impact the most people, right? So if I have to go for the good of the collective, I have to say it's probably for the betterment of the collective. If I have to hold the left accountable to their own rules, I have to say that's probably for the betterment of the collective that she's not in a position to influence people. That doesn't mean I don't want her to have a job. It doesn't mean I don't want her to have some sort of purpose in life. It doesn't mean I don't want her to have some sort of personal fulfillment. It doesn't mean I don't want her to have a path to redemption, although she's already done a PhD in critical race theory, so I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. It just means that I want her not to teach people to hate themselves. And I don't want her to be put in a position where she's teaching people to hate herself. So in this scenario, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if the greater good is that there is actually a concerted push to get people like her out of these positions where they have influence, to quarantine them off into their little anti-racist spaces where they can still make money from crazy rich white ladies that will pay them $2,500 to come to dinner and teach them about their racism. I mean, maybe even, to be frank, maybe Kate not having a job at Brandeis University could actually be the best thing that could ever happen to her. She'd probably make a lot more money talking about how rich white ladies are racist and getting them to pay her for it. You'd probably be very successful at that. So maybe it would actually be a good thing. But I also think that the difference between Kate and Chrissy is that canceling Chrissy Teigen accomplishes nothing. It accomplishes nothing. All that it accomplishes is retribution. I'm not interested in retribution. I'm not interested in canceling someone because I don't agree with them. I'm interested in canceling them because they're having a negative impact on society and the world, and they're teaching human beings to hate themselves. And I think that going after people like her that are in active positions where they're doing this right now is a different story than going after a celebrity for something that she did years ago that she's apologized for. Because guess what? Chrissy Teigen can be held accountable to this apology. If she steps outside of this apology, she's going to have a mass ton of people saying, what the hell was this all about, Chrissy? And bringing it back and reliving it again and again. She can be held accountable to that apology right now. Kate is not going to be held accountable for teaching people to hate themselves. She's not going to be held accountable for the psychological harm that she's inflicting on other people. And I think that that's a problem, and that impacts real lives of real people, and taking her out of a position to do it is actually contributing to the greater goal that we have. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, and I would love to hear yours. I think that this is a fine line to walk, and I want to acknowledge that there is nuance here, and I want to acknowledge that as someone who is generally opposed to cancel culture, I want to acknowledge that it looks like I'm doing cancel culture right now, and I really genuinely do have mixed feelings about this. But what do you guys think? I would love to hear. Leave a comment, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, maybe giving it a thumbs up. Things like that really help me out. But mostly on this one, I'm looking for your comments. I will be reading them. I will be looking for the feedback. And I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say and your feelings on the topic. All right, guys, that's all I have. I'll see you soon.